Initiating startup sequence.
Hello everyone, Xailas back here with you with another figure review. This time we're going to be looking at the PlayArts Kai Metal Gear Solid 5 Venom Snake sneaking suit version. Now this was another highly anticipated figure for me. When I first saw it up available for pre-order, I jumped on it and I'm very glad I did. I enjoyed this figure quite a bit. I think it's an awesome figure, and aside from a couple of little issues that I have with it, which I usually have a few issues with every figure I get. I don't think there's any such thing as a perfect figure, but just a couple of things that are kind of typical with PlayArts Kai figures, or PlayArts figures in general, that kind of carry over into this figure as well. But aside from that, this figure is awesome. I mean, you can tell just by looking at it, it looks great. It's a great looking figure. There's a lot of detail going on. I mean, it's pretty faithful to the game. If you're a fan of Metal Gear or of the sneaking suit in the different games, I really think that they did a lot of justice to the original Metal Gear Solid on the PS1, because this essentially is a redesign of the original sneaking suit worn by Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 1. So really an awesome design, and the details carried over quite faithfully on the figure version. Now of course this is Venom Snake from Metal Gear Solid 5, so he does have his prosthetic arm, and it's very, very nicely detailed. They got the perfect colors on there, perfect shading, and great amount of detail on that. Each one of the fingers is sculpted. They're not independently movable or anything like that, but the way that they're sculpted is really, really nice. Nice little bit of black wash over it and everything makes it look nice and dirty and grimy, not like it's brand new or anything like that. All of the details, like the little text, the white text that you'll see throughout the suit, is all nice and crisp and clear. I'll kind of pull in a little bit so you can see, for example, on his hand here. Light's gonna pick that up. Or on his logo on his shoulder, the Diamond Dogs logo right here, comes out very, very clean, nothing smudgy or anything like that. So very, very nice with the paint. Nice contrast in paint colors. They decided to go ahead and add in a little more gray than what you see in the game, but I actually really like it. You'll see some grays kind of in through here with the paint here that actually kind of sets off the black, deeper dark tones of the sneaking suit, and I think it's really a great contrast. There's also some browns that they added in through the bottom here, kind of at the legs. There's some very subtle browns and some lighter grays, and it just goes really nice. Some more brown in through the arms here like this. It just fits quite well with the entire color scheme. Also the greens on his strapping and his utility belt, or whatever you want to call it, really, really nice. Blends in great with the rest of the scheme of the suit. Very faithfully recreated here again. So awesome job by the PlayArts team when they did the composition of this figure. The sculpt and the paintwork is phenomenal. So taking a look at some of the articulation on this guy, it's very, very typical of a PlayArts figure. He's got pretty nice snappy ball joint in his in all of his limbs, really. In his arms here at the wrist, he's got some nice kind of, it doesn't really make a whole lot of noise, but they do kind of ratchet into position there. Nice range of motion, can go forward and out quite nice, as well as a nice twist there. So you can see how his wrist twists quite nicely there. So definitely adequate movement in the wrist there. In the arm, they have a bicep swivel here at the bicep, which is kind of nicely positioned right at where he's got a belt strap right here, so you can actually twist it without it looking too crazy. Now you do get a little bit of you know, a little bit of a flat space if you twist it out too much, where the sculpt actually doesn't match. Where if you you know, just if you twist it out too much, I don't foresee that being too much of an issue, because it looks great. However you choose to pose this guy, it really does look really good. On the legs, very similar kind of articulation to other Play Arts Kai figures. He's got the very snappy type of leg joints. Let me take him off his stand here. And this is the standard Play Arts Kai stand that comes with most Play Arts figures. But in the legs, of course, he's got nice kind of ratcheting leg joints there, you can see. Double jointed knee, of course, which is very, very typical of Play Arts figures. Great amount of movement there. A little bit of gapping in here, but really it doesn't really bother me very much. The color is all consistent, so it's not too displeasing to the eye. Around the ankle here, he's got nice range of motion in his ankles. Not too much rocker action in the ankle. You can't really go to the sides very much, but they do give you this kind of you know, this toe rocker, which is, I'm not a huge fan of that myself. I never really found myself getting a lot of use out of the toe rockers, just because it looks kind of awkward. You know, it doesn't quite look like, you know, if you don't push it too far, it's not a big deal. But I like to kind of keep that standard, and then just kind of get a little bit of the rock action out of the standard articulation there, so it looks a little more natural. So pretty good overall articulation in the legs. You're going to be able to get this guy in any position that you're really going to want to for this character, you know, that would be realistic for this character, without too much of an issue at all. As far as the head is concerned, it's on a nice double ball joint, so he gets a lot of range of motion in the head. You can pretty much look any direction that you want him to look in. Nice bit of downward looking motion along with the torso. Has a nice bit of action rocking forward like that, as well as rocking back. And then you can have him looking upward like this if you like, whatever you really want. They give you plenty of articulation in the head and neck area to take care of that. I tend to like the side, kind of the side looking poses like this, so no problems there. Talking about the torso area a little bit more, this is actually one of the areas that I have a little bit of an issue with the figure. It's not a big deal, and it is one that you can actually remedy yourself if you're kind of crafty. But in the torso here, he has a very typical build again for Play Arts Kai, but he's got this kind of huge like gapping issue going on here. So if you tilt him back a little bit, take this off. If you tilt him back a bit, you see this big gap under here, and if you move him around too much, you're really going to start to see a lot of gapping kind of in the torso area there. So you really start to see some of those gaps. And, you know, if you're just kind of posing him in a neutral position, it's not really going to be that big of an issue. But especially in the back, when you get in toward the back, if you start posing him like looking down or anything, you're gonna really start to get this kind of almost half-inch gap in here. I can almost fit my finger in there, which can be a little off-putting for some people, I imagine. For me, it's really not that big of a deal, because I don't imagine, you know, posing him like this too much. I think that the neutral poses for Venom Snake here is definitely going to be plenty for me. And if I really wanted to pose him down like that, and I was worried that much about the gapping on that, I would actually just take a little piece of like a real thin black foam, or a little piece of a dark rubber or something, and you could actually attach it to the inside there, so that when he bends down, you don't see that gap. It just kind of looks like it blends into, you know, whatever you wanted it to do, or look like rather. And so it's really not that big of a deal. It's not a deal breaker for me at all on this guy. Some people are really picky about that kind of thing. For me, I think that the detail work that went into this figure is amazing. I think they did an awesome job, and yeah, you may hear some complaints about the build quality of it or whatever, but you know what? For what it is, I think that this is amazing, and it's worth the asking price. Speaking of which, the asking price right now for this guy is currently pretty standard for PlayArts Kai figures. He was just released, so you're going to probably find him for about $120 right now for, you know, PlayArts Kai figure of this quality. It's definitely got their latest technology as far as all of their articulation and all that, so it's love it or hate it, it is what it is, but I actually am a fan of it, you know, just because you can really get a ton of poses and you know, any kind of look that you want out of these characters with it still looking amazing. The detail was not compromised for articulation, which is why I like PlayArts Kai figures. Now, as far as the details themselves in this guy, I want to point out a couple of things. There's a couple of great things about this figure that I really love, and that is in his communications system here that he has on his shoulder. He actually has it wired up into his ear. These are actually independent little plastic wires that they have added to the figure. It's not, you know, just attached and part of the sculpt. They're actually individually attached to the communication device. One's going up into his ear here, another one's coming up and going around his head and down into the suit in front of his neck here, and another one is coming down across his body and down into his pack in the back. And this is all game faithful. And I thought that was really, really nicely done how they did that. They could have very easily kind of sculpted that into the body itself and just kind of made a cut where the, you know, where the ab crunch is here, you know, and just kind of didn't really pay very much attention to that, but they did, and I was very, very pleased by that. And some of the other details, again, like on his prosthetic arm here, his little watch, you know, it has little details inside the watch there. It's just really, really nice touches overall. The head sculpt is very faithful too. I was a little worried when I was looking at the pictures initially that it wasn't really going to be too faithful to Venom Snake, but when I got him, I was very pleasantly surprised. The head sculpt is really solid. You know, the hair is nicely done. His little piece of shrapnel that he has here in his forehead came out real nice, and you know, the beard is a little bit different, but I mean, it still looks great. Still looks like Snake, and I'm really happy with it. The one issue I have a little bit with the paint on the face is that his eye is kind of looking upward, so that he kind of wants to have a, you know, a downward looking gaze, which is cool. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you know, when you have him, you know, looking straight without any kind of downward facing position, it kind of looks like he's looking upward, which, you know, it's a nitpicky thing, but not a huge deal at all. What else? He has this really cool strap in the back here. This is, of course, game faithful as well. This is for those of you who know the game, or kind of a little bit of the story of Metal Gear Solid 5. This tail here is supposed to kind of represent a demon's tail, as Venom Snake is kind of becoming kind of a demon in the game due to his actions. I'm not gonna go into spoilers or anything like that, but this is definitely game accurate. You know, some people may see that and wonder, what the heck is this random strap doing here? But it is very, very accurate and very nicely done. It's an independent rubber piece there. It's not real stiff or anything. It moves around real nice, so definitely works. As far as accessories go, he comes with his combat knife that fits nicely into his sheath in the back right here. So it's very cool and very nicely sculpted. This is very common of PlayArts Kai figures. You'll see when they come with knives, they're always really nicely done. The metal has a nice finish to it, nice kind of dull silver finish to it, nicely detailed. You can actually make out all the rivets and everything in there, so it's really nicely done. Always appreciate the detail on those little things. He comes with 2 different assault rifles. Of course, he comes with the MRS-4 rifle. That's this guy right here, and this is pretty much the hero assault rifle, if you will, of Metal Gear Solid 5. And definitely looks great. It's a great sculpt on it. It's got lots of little details. If you look real close at it, you can see all the little rivets and things like that. The one thing though with this is this assault rifle actually did not come with a strap, and the Ground Zeroes Play Arts Kai Snake actually came with one that has a strap, and I actually have that figure as well, and so I have that rifle here to show you. Kind of comes with a little strap and a collapsible stock here as well, which actually did not make the transition over to the sneaking suit version, which I was a little surprised about, seeing as though I actually, as much as I like the Ground Zeroes Snake figure, I actually think this one is the more detailed figure of the two. So the fact that he got an MRS4 without a strap and without a collapsible stock, this is actually fixed in the position there, was a little surprising to me. But what I actually did was I just went ahead and gave my Sneaking Suit Snake the rifle with the strap here, and I just kind of sling it around his arm there so it kind of hangs off on his right side, just like it does in the game. So kind of like that. And you know, I can pass on my other one off to my Ground Zeroes Snake, no problem. So they're both awesomely detailed, great looking rifle. I just wish they would have included the strap and the collapsible stock. He comes with his Woo pistol here. This is his classic Trank pistol that he starts the game with. Really nice sculpt on it, pretty simple design, but it gets the job done. It fits in his little holster on the side here, and so you can actually slip that in there. This top piece actually unbuttons, and you can slip that in there. The one issue I have is it's a pretty tight fit, and the fastening system on this is just a little bitty rubber nub that you got to push into a hole. And once you have the pistol in there, the actual barrel of the gun kind of gets in the way of that little hole, so it's really difficult to actually close the top of the pouch or the top of the holster back over it once the gun is in the holster. So what I actually do is I close it while the gun is not in there, and then I kind of put the gun into the side and push it in there as much as I can, so that it looks, you know, semi-realistic. It's not in there completely all the way, but I kind of push it in there, something like that, where it still looks like it's, you know, it doesn't look crazy or stupid or anything like it's hanging out. That way I can get the look of the closed holster with the gun in there. Still looks good. I like it. He comes also with another assault rifle. This is the Soviet comparable rifle to the MRS4. And it's a very kind of AK-ish. It's not an AK, but it's I think it's called the SV. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it's called. But this is also very game faithful. It's exactly the way it is in the game, and it has the double magazine modification on it, which is very, very cool. Details are great. You can even see the round in the top of the magazine there, the sub magazine. So really nice. Unfortunately, the stock, despite the fact that it has the hinges here, does not collapse on this one either, and it doesn't have a strap on this one either, so that's a little bit of a bummer. But one of my lights just went out there. But still very cool, very nicely sculpted, and I like this rifle quite a bit. But I will not be using it. I'll be using my MRS4 just because I like it so much. But anyway, that's about it for this figure review. Awesome figure overall. I definitely recommend him for anybody who likes Metal Gear Solid or Snake or anything like that in general, or just likes high quality figures. He's sitting at about $100, $120 right now. You may be able to get him a little cheaper on eBay. If you wait a long time, the price probably will go up on this guy. That's pretty typical of these figures. They kind of start, you know, pretty standard, and then they start going up as they become unavailable, as the demand goes up on them. So pick this guy up if you like him, and yeah, that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Xailas out.